Let's go Knights! Hi, everybody, and welcome to Night Spotlight. I'm Lane Glenn, the president at Northern Essex Community College, up here in the beautiful Merrimack Valley of Northeast Massachusetts, where we have hundreds of talented faculty and staff who every day are finding new ways to teach and to research and to help students connect to a world of work that is constantly changing. Each and every one of them has a story to tell. Today, we are very fortunate to be in the office of Professor Douglas Leifer. It's so good to be with you today. I ordinarily just go off the top of my head and say some things about the person that I'm interviewing based on what I've read or based on what I know. And Professor Leifer's credentials are so impressive. There are a couple in here that I want to get just right. So if you don't mind, I'm actually going to read a couple of these things. So Doug has been
perfectly fine.
Professor Leifer has been here at Northern Essex Community College since 2017. He also is an adjunct professor at Merrimack College and shares his talents in lots of different ways. And he worked in the private sector for a while before coming to Northern Essex. We'll talk about that a little bit in the interview. But a couple things. He is a NISOT Award recipient, as I know many people watching this video are. Over the years, we've had dozens and dozens of talented folks who have been recognized by the National Institute for Staff and Organizational Development. On top of that, this year, Professor Leifer is a fellow of the American Society of Civil Engineers. A very small portion of people who are civil engineers are recognized by that society. That's quite a distinction. Here's where I really wanted to get to. He earned his master's in civil and environmental engineering and his PhD in environmental health from the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering at Tufts. His doctoral research focused on biostatistics, epidemiology, environmental toxicology, and risk exposure assessment. This is the title of his PhD thesis: Concurrent Measurement of Transportation Noise and Ultrafine Particle Emissions, implications, you gotta have a colon in this dissertation topic, we know, implications for environmental health studies. Discuss. No, not yet, not yet. Amazing talent, amazing knowledge. We're so fortunate to have you at Northern Essex Community College.
Thank you, Lane. Yeah.
So, Professor Leifer, Doug,
please.
Doug.
Yes.
You had a career in the private sector before coming to Northern Essex Community College.
I did, indeed.
Which is a great benefit for your students, for our students.
I'd like to think so.
Well, tell us a bit about that career. What did you do, and how does it inform your work as a professor?
So that career was mainly as an engineering consultant doing field work for many years, collecting field data. This was really water supply work and wastewater treatment, which we chatted about briefly before you arrived.
A little history of that in my family.
That's right, and there's a little history of that in everyone's family. And
fair point.
And then air pollution control, and so I was a field engineer for quite a while, and we had talked that sometimes engineers aren't the most gregarious people, but one of the aspects of that job that I liked was meeting clients. So I became more client-facing rather than more data-facing. Okay. And when I became more client-facing, I went into the marketing and sales side of that business. So after about 10 years of being a field engineer, I went into more of a commercial side of engineering. And then I moved into engineering equipment sales and marketing. Okay. And so that took me around the world. It was a fascinating job. Wow. And I got to 55 countries in 5 continents. So I traveled quite extensively as this marketing engineer, a sales engineer.
What were you marketing at the time that you would visit all these countries? What were you selling?
Well, it was air pollution instrumentation. And I have the claim to fame to say that I've been to some of the most polluted cities on the planet.
But they weren't that way when you left them.
Well, let's hope not. Was trying to help remedy the problem. Okay. Measure and quantify what the level of pollutants were so that we could do something about it.
Fascinating. Yeah. So what was the bridge between that and higher education? How did you end up in a class?
So that's a great question. So there was a brief stint in the biotech field too, after the environmental field. And I was working for a very small biotech company in about 2009 that was about to be acquired by a larger company and was looking to move their operations out of Massachusetts. So I saw this coming. And coincidentally at that time, I received a phone call from a professor at Merrimack College who I knew only through another relation, and I didn't really know the professor directly, and he said, would you like to teach a class at Merrimack College? And I live in the town where Merrimack College is located. Okay. So I said, why not, right? So let's give this a shot. So I taught, and I had dusted off my notes from my graduate program, and they were very accommodating, since they figured I was someone who could give a public presentation, as long as I knew the technical material. So I did that, and I really enjoyed it. And I said to myself, well, this is my next act in my career, so I'm going into academia. And a mentor I had at Merrimack said, well, you've got to get a PhD, young man. And I said, well, okay, I'll think about that. So after a couple more years of adjuncting, I took the plunge and went back to Tufts to get a PhD.
And you finished that after you started teaching for us, right? Or is it around the same time, right around the same time?
I finished it only 2 years ago. So
Yeah,
while I've been teaching,
while you've been teaching
at
here.
NECC, exactly.
Right. That's right. I remember seeing that. Yeah.
So that was the beginning of my journey in academia in 2009 or 2010.
You said as long as you knew the technical material. Had pollution changed that much from grad school until the time you started teaching?
It's gotten worse.
Did the technical stuff change quite a lot?
No, well, the technology always changes.
Sure.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
So in the time that you've been teaching, which has been sort of the more recent part of your career, you've had a lot of students in that time, maybe 8 years here at Northern Essex, a little bit at Merrimack. One of the most rewarding parts of teaching is that opportunity to affect lives and to have an impact on students. Is there a particular student story that you think of that you're particularly proud of that you might want to share?
So I can think of one, there are many, but I can think of one student in particular that was struggling with attendance issues and some health issues as well. Missed quite a few of my classes, but I saw a lot of promise in this student, a lot of potential. And this particular student had engineered a robotic device that I thought was really quite good, and I saw talent, and I made some provisions for the student to make up a lot of missed work. Okay. And the student retook one of my classes, and then eventually I hired the student with some funds that we have through a STEM Starter Academy as an assistant, teaching assistant. Okay. So we call them a supplemental instructor, leader. Right. And that student did a terrific job working for me and mentoring other students in the class. And so the student really started to grow and thrive. And then we typically work with UMass Lowell on internships and internship placements. So I was able to recommend the student for a summer internship in nuclear physics, of all things, at UMass Lowell. And so the student really rose to the occasion in that internship, I'm told, by UMass faculty. And now the student is enrolled at UMass Lowell getting a bachelor's degree in engineering.
That's fantastic. I love that. Just before we got started today, we were talking about another one of your students who attended something that I attended last week. It was held at Harvard and MIT, and it was around artificial intelligence.
Right.
I didn't prep you for this question. I'm going to throw it out there anyway.
Throw it out.
I mean, the reason the student and I were there, a couple of other students from Northern Essex too, was looking at how AI is impacting their lives as students, our lives as educators. How is AI affecting your life in the classroom?
So that's a very relevant topic, very relevant question. What we've seen is in the last few years, AI, like ChatGPT, for example, has gotten better and better at solving mathematical problems. Yeah. It is a language model, but it is also now quite good at solving math problems and engineering problems. And rather than just running it loose with students to use AI to solve problems, we use it to debug problems, like with coding, for example, or we use it as a starter to generate some equation or code that students can then complete on their own. So I think it's a great tool if used properly as a starter or an aid, but as a substitute for learning, no, it's not recommended to do that. And of course, we try to use AI responsibly rather than just have it to find solutions for us. We want it to be a partner with us in solving problems.
That seemed to have been the consensus of so many of the experts that were at this symposium that your student and I attended, who were some of the luminaries in this work at those institutions at MIT and at Harvard. And one big takeaway from this was, if anyone is telling you that they know exactly what's going to happen next with AI and here's what you should do, they're probably selling you something, and buyer beware, right? Because there's a lot of unpredictability built into that.
That's right.
All right. I didn't prepare you for this one either, but I think you can roll with it. Just before we got going here, you were telling me a joke, and you almost hit the punchline. Here's an opportunity to redeem yourself. I love a good pun. I love a good dad joke. I love a good,
an engineer joke. Right?
So, as I said to you, all of the men in my biological family are engineers. So I get some of the characteristics. You want to try it again?
We'll try it again.
All right, let's try it again. Go.
All right, so what does a gregarious, outgoing engineer do when he greets you for the first time?
I don't know. What does a gregarious, outgoing engineer do? How do you know it's a gregarious outdoor engineer when he greets you for the first time?
When he shakes your hand, he looks down at your shoes.
I get that one. That's pretty good. That's good. You nailed it. That was good. Doug, thank you for all that you do in the
Thank you,
classroom
Wayne.
for our
Thank you.
students. Thank you for staying on top of your game as the technology changes.
Thank you.
Trying to keep up with AI and all the other things that are impacting you and all the faculty here at the institution. We're lucky to have your private industry experience in the classroom, and lucky to have you the way you care for students. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.